I saw a few questions coming in to the chat talking about puppy potty training and house breaking. And the next thing we want to talk about for those of you who are, working through some of these issues is really using your crate effectively, like really understanding how quickly. We talked earlier about a crate and all the reasons that you'd want to do it in terms of behavior and management. Crate's also a great way to use to manage your dog's area and then take them outside. So if you can't supervise them, they go into their crate. If they're having accidents in their crate, remove the bedding. People are sometimes like, oh no, my puppy is so, he'd hate it in there if it was just the plastic bottom. But if the puppy's having accidents, what they'll often do is they'll piddle on the blanket or whatever mat or whatever's in their bed, and then they'll squish it into the corner, and then they'll continue having a snooze. So
we have a lot of really fabulous videos on our YouTube channel specifically about crate training, about dealing with barking in the crate training, about dealing with teaching them to love their crate, all kinds of stuff like that.
So let's talk a little bit about how, if you're looking for information, how house training might work for your puppy. Let's maybe go through like a day with a puppy and how our house training might work for these guys.
Yeah, well, when we have a puppy, our goal is to avoid having accidents in the house by how we sort of schedule their day. So what we know about puppies is there's certain times of the day that, and I don't mean specific hours, I mean moments in the day that your puppy's more prone to have to go to the washroom. So if you can predict those things and get them outside instead, you're going to find that you're not going to have as many accidents. In the morning, they'll be bursting at the seams, and that's usually a time when they're going to have to go to the washroom. If they've had a big drink, once they've eaten, those are times they have to go out. Two that a lot of people don't know about is if they've had a nap and they wake up from their nap, usually moments after that, they'll need to go to the washroom. So if your puppy goes for a nap, when they start to wake up, get them outside right away. That's a common time that they'll have accidents. And then another one that's a bit sneaky is if your dog's had a lot of activity. And that's also a great tip to get your dog to go to the bathroom. If your dog's not gone to the bathroom and you need them to, exercise them a little bit, do a little bit more, so that somebody's calling me on my Canadianism. What is the washroom exactly?
Oh, yeah. I forgot.
I don't know why Canadians say that. It's so weird. Yeah. Bathroom, potty. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. I will try to not say washroom. It's so ingrained in my brain.
Just get that out of your head. Eh?
I can't say potty. I just think it's so weird.
Monica dropping another super chat.
Anyways, I will wrap this up. When you play with your puppy, you need to expect that they need to go outside afterwards. So make sure that you're on top of that. You can have a schedule so you could take them out on a regular basis, or you just need to get to know their body language. We try to very quickly, when we have a puppy, start to teach our puppy how to ask to go outside, so that we're not always responsible for watching to see if they'll go. So they'll show us signs. And then my absolute favorite thing about house training is that we teach our puppies to go to the bathroom on a command. And this is like a life-saving thing. So if I walk out and I say, hurry up, I literally have all 6 of our dogs peeing within seconds of me saying it. And when it's raining and cold, or if I'm late, dogs going to the bathroom quickly is like the most amazing thing.
Sure. Jamie asks, what's the best way to involve young children, 5 and 7, in the puppy training process? First time dog for the kids.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty exciting process. I think everyone sort of envisions this, having a couple kids in a dog in their household, and they want to figure out, how do I integrate the two?
And then suddenly they realize that it's absolutely crazy.
This is a challenge. Yes, this is a challenge. So let's talk about that.
So it's great to get the kids involved with the puppy. It's important that they learn to have a good relationship. One thing that we'll recommend that you do is get the kids involved in some of the training where the puppy is going to be doing more controlled things. So they could help with feeding the dog. They could help with teaching sits and downs and tricks. But when you're doing all of these things, it's really helpful if you're right there sort of guiding the whole process. Even have a leash in your hand, have some treats yourself, have your children have some treats too, so that you can sort of assist them with the puppy. Puppies have a terrible habit of sort of thinking of kids as being like just another litter mate or a buddy, and so they tend to be a little bit more naughty with kids than with adults, because kids are loud and they squeak and they run and they are just a lot of fun to chase. So if you can work on calmer things, that can really be helpful. And then supervision. I know we've said that 100 times on this chat, but you need to make sure you're really watching so your puppy's not really learning that when you're not around, when the kids are maybe having an exciting run around moment, that the puppy's not nipping and biting and chasing them. So it's really going to be a lot of management on your part, but the more you can get them involved in some of the obedience skills, the more your puppy will start to view them as being little people they have to listen to a little bit
also
more.
want to make sure the kids aren't running around nipping and biting the puppy.
Yeah, I mean, that would also be very appreciated.
You'd be surprised some of the stories that we've heard.
Yeah.
Now we need to talk about something that we've seen a lot of conversation about here in the chat, and that's nipping. Puppies, are constantly nipping and biting. They're exploring the world with their mouths. What do we do about it? How do we set those puppies up to be more successful?
Yes, nipping and biting for sure is a common thing that we get asked about all of the time. It's something that almost every single puppy does when they first come home. They're really they're used to using their mouths with their brothers and sisters when they're in the litter. And one of the things that they will do is they will see if they can use their mouth to either play with you or sometimes to control you as well. Puppies learn really quickly that if you're doing something and they go to nip and bite, most normal human reaction is to go and do this, and the puppy goes, aha, I gotcha, I know exactly how to control you. So it's really common, but it's it's definitely something that needs to be addressed right off the bat, and as quickly and effectively as you possibly can, because you don't want nipping and biting to linger. If you're having issues with nipping and biting for months, something in your information to the dog is clearly being missed. Consistency, follow through are all going to be really important. But the goal is that you're structuring your dog's life and you're training them and working them in a way that your dog's not doing a lot of nipping and biting. In fact, last week, we posted a YouTube video on things that you can do that prevent biting. So how can you set your puppy up so that you're not even getting biting in the first place? Because there's all kinds of things that people do that actually encourage the dog to nip more, and they don't even know that they're doing them. Things like holding the puppy up by your face, or getting down and wrestling with them on the ground, or letting them get up on the couch, or, there's so many things that people do just naturally with a puppy, and they wonder why their puppies are nipping and biting them. So those are just some things that we want you to think about.
Rowan asked, my 10-week-old pup doesn't seem interested in any type of treat we try and use for training. He doesn't respond much to luring and just lays down.
If you have a puppy that's not really interested in treats, often we'll ask you a little bit more about their food and whether they're interested in eating their food. Most commonly, we find puppies that are like this are getting free fed and not meal fed. So free feeding is when people just put the food down and just kind of like how you would feed a cat. You don't feed dogs like that, though. You got to give them meals.
That's how I wish Kayl would feed a Ken.
Yeah.
Just leave food out all the time.
It's not happening.
That'd make me happy.
So mealtime should be something that you have. Breakfast, and for puppies, we usually do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So putting it down for, a few minutes, and then whatever they don't eat, pick up, and then put back down at the next mealtime to get them on a more strict schedule. And then if he is interested in the feeding time, that would be a good time to actually do your training when the puppy's already anticipating food, or maybe even use the food as your training treats rather than using treats. And also to think about what kind of treats that you're using. I think a lot of people don't use high enough value food when they're teaching. So there's all kinds of things you can do. The tuna treats that we've suggested are great. Even chicken wieners, block cheese, leftover chicken, cut up a hamburger for your dog. All of these things are very high value and usually get the dog a little bit more interested.
Do you use a house line in the backyard to potty, or switch to a leash? And do you give the pups some... I love this question. Really good question, because it's something that people often ask. Or switch to a leash. Do you give the pup some free time to run loose? Thanks. So a couple of things. I would definitely switch to an outside leash.
Long line, like 20 feet?
Yeah, a longer line if you're going out to teach your puppy to go potty in the backyard. I would never let the puppy run loose without some sort of line, some way to stop them from getting into trouble, to if they're like, maybe they find something they're picking up, and I don't want them to have that. They're so young, they don't have an out command. They might not have a great response to name. I need to have some sort of control to make sure that I avoid disaster, whatever. Avoid disaster. So you make sure nothing bad happens to your adorable little puppy. You need to have that little bit of control. So that free run time is going to be earned. When your dog is giving you reliable responses to name, a great response to come command, then they can have an opportunity to be completely unrestrained, freed from their leash or line. But at this point for your puppy, just let them drag the line. Maybe you need to get a nice light line for those situations that's long enough. Like we talk a lot about our house lines being as light as we can get them. In fact, our in-class students will get like this. It's like I don't know what it is, like a little nylon white line. It's almost like a shoelace, a little bit thicker.
I think I personally, when I have puppies, I don't ever let them have free time to run around. Even if they're wearing a line, I don't just stand in the backyard and let them run around because that basically allows them to get a reward without including me. So I would run around with the puppy. I would let them chase me. I would get a toy out and play some tug. So when my dog's exuding all of that fun energy, we're doing those things together, which makes me more valuable to them. I don't just stand there on my phone and let the dog run around and sort of seek enjoyment without including me. Everything that my dog does that they find rewarding, I try to figure out how I can apply myself to that so that we're doing those things together.
Hey guys, we took a puppy essentials class with Callie. Maybe you mean puppy Head Start. She's 5 months now, but she gets ballistic excited when meeting new people. She flips on her back and pees every time. I think I lost it.
It's
couldn't. Up.
Up. There you go.
Pees everywhere. How do we curb that? We've had this challenge with
we've had our own dogs that do this. It's submissive elimination, and a lot of times the dogs don't even know that they're doing it. Number one is do not let her flip on her back. That's a very submissive position to be in, and they're far more likely to pee when they're like that. So encourage her to sit. Also, try not to allow people to bend over top of her or talk in that high, squeaky puppy voice that everybody does.
Puppies are like,
"Oh, you're so cute.
Oh, I am so cute."
Yeah,
and then it happens.
And the puppy's like, "Oh my God, I need to pee." So, they can just talk on a calm, quiet voice. Don't pet the puppy if she flips on her back or if she's going crazy. Get her more calmer minded. And then keep a leash on her. So when she goes to flip on her back, just very gently encourage her up into a sit and only let people pet her when she's in that position. That will teach her to have a little bit more self-confidence and be able to control herself a little bit more. But it's pretty common, but you can get rid of it pretty quickly with some of those tips.
You've just watched some content from our main channel, McCann Dog Training. And if you'd like some more training information on this topic, click that card right there. If this is your first time on our Clips channel and you really enjoy the short form content, make sure you subscribe. Hit that button right there. On that note, I'm Ken. Happy training.